Is there truly a studio in Hollywood right now that's more accurately described by the word pathetic than Warner Brothers? It sucks because it didn't always used to be this way. There was a time when they were the pioneers, the innovators, the ones pushing the art of filmmaking forward. Do you like being able to hear characters talk when you watch movies? What about not having to imagine the colors on screen? You can thank Warner Brothers for both of those things. Or maybe the technical and artistic aspects of film aren't that important to you and you just want to watch movies for fun and escapism. Once again, you can largely thank Warner Brothers, as their run of box office dominance throughout the 2000s and early 2010s brought about a massive resurgence of studios largely prioritizing their flagship franchises. Nowadays, it's feeling more and more like all of that was merely a figment of our collective imagination. With occasional exceptions like Barbie and Dune, the fact is that Warner Brothers commands neither the box office appeal they once had, nor the prestige, or even the respect. They are the how do you do fellow kids meme personified, a past their prime entity clinging desperately to the fringes of relevance by chasing trends but with none of the authenticity or passion or understanding of why those trends are popular and successful in the first place. Oh look, superheroes teaming up. Oh look, streaming platforms. Oh look, video game tie-ins. References, references, references.
Merchandising, merchandising! Where the real money from the movie is made.
They are the Ubisoft of film studios. They see what's trending, copy it, make it worse, and then double down on it. In the spirit of fairness, the reason Warner Brothers seems so incredibly and increasingly desperate is because they are. They've been operating fairly consistently under the threat of complete financial ruin since the 1950s, which is why they've gone through so many mergers since then, and which is why they're now flinging anything and everything at the wall in hopes that something will stick. At the same time, however, it's difficult to feel bad for a company that burns money like there's no tomorrow, only to cry crocodile tears about not having enough money to do anything, like pay their writers, or pay their writers, or pay their writers, or pay their writers. Warner Brothers really doesn't like paying their writers. They'd sooner throw every writer they have to a pack of wolves before ponying up a residual check, and sadly that hyperbole isn't too far off from reality. In 1945, the writers at Warner Brothers went on strike, presumably for better pay. Jack Warner responded by going to Congress and accusing a dozen of them of being communists. At the peak of the Red Scare in America, this was essentially a death blow for their careers. So if Jack wasn't paying his writers, then who was on the payroll at this point in time? That's right, actual Chicago mobsters paid to organize fake unions and pick fights out in the streets with the striking screenwriters. And have things improved since then?
If you want to be successful, you're going to have to figure out how to get along with everyone. And that includes difficult people. Some people
Well, at least no one was accused of anything this time. Let's be honest with ourselves though, even if the studio did pay their writers, it's not like they'd let them do much of anything anyway. They've essentially just been trying everything they can to emulate Disney since 2012, but audiences now seem to finally be cluing into the fact that Disney's filmmaking process is dictated not by creative efforts, but by executive decisions.
Merchandising, merchandising! Where the real money from the movie is made.
So, if you're the student who copies someone else's test answers to save your grade rather than study, and then you find out the person you cheated off of failed the test, then how do you keep yourself from circling the drain along with them? Don't ask Warner Brothers, because that's the situation in which they found themselves, and they have zero idea what to do. The DC Extended Universe was a massive failure. Let's poach one of Marvel's better directors and do it again. Oh no, a sequel we made was a critical and commercial disaster. Let's make even more of them. We made a film with box office potential, but oopsie daisy, nobody saw it because nobody knew it existed. Let's continue to do a terrible job marketing our movies. And then there's the man behind every disastrous business decision. This is David Zaslav, and his talents include screwing over filmmakers, shelving their products for tax write-offs, and pocketing the money by giving himself another raise. As far as good old Davey is concerned, art is only as valuable as the money people will pay to see it, and only the movies he deems economically viable will see the light of day. It doesn't matter how positive test screenings are, no film is safe. Batgirl, shelved. Scoob sequel, shelved. Coyote vs. Acme, very nearly shelved, but was thankfully saved from eternal purgatory at the last minute. It'll probably still lose money, but at least the hard work of the cast and crew won't waste away on a hard drive forever. This philosophy goes for their streaming platform as well. If something isn't pulling in the views and money that Davey desires, then he'll have it pulled from Max without a second thought. Because why make a little bit of money slowly over time when you can just make none whatsoever? You see, Davey doesn't believe in hitting singles and doubles, he's all about home runs only, and if you dare try to load the bases, he will kick you to the curb. We don't do that here. We either make $1 billion or we scrap it for a tax write-off. None of this modest success crap. Does he at least allow other streaming platforms the chance to host the content he pulls? Of course not. Your favorite movies and TV shows can technically become lost media at the drop of a hat, and there's nothing you or anyone else can do about it. If you don't like it, then you can suck it, cause I own it all. The funniest part of all this is that Davey genuinely doesn't see how this strategy could be in any way harmful for Warner Brothers. We didn't get rid of any show that was helping us, he says, not realizing that merely hosting those shows at all is better for the brand and its image in the long run. It took courage to shelve those movies, he says, not realizing that doing so burned a lot of bridges in the industry before they even had a chance to be made. Seriously, what director in their right mind is going to want to work and deal with the Warner Brothers clown show? Who on earth would want to pour their heart and soul into a passion project knowing that this little anti-art weasel at the top could pull the plug at any point in production simply on a whim? Thanks for 2 years of service, enjoy the soup kitchen. It's even worse if you're a writer because you just secured residual payment for streaming only to find out that one of the biggest studios in Hollywood is just cutting crap from their platform with barely any rhyme or reason. And if no one comes to work for you, then what will you have left besides a mountain of servers holding entire libraries of films that you've decided nobody should be allowed to see? This is a complete disaster. Warner Brothers has spent years making bad investment after bad investment in hopes of reliving the glory days of the 2000s, but rather than right the ship, they're tripling down on their own stupidity, refusing to address the same mistakes they keep making, and incinerating art and goodwill to compensate for it all. Davey set out to rescue a company, but all he's managed to do is flush the passion, soul, and reputation of one of Hollywood's oldest and most storied studios down the toilet. Looks like I'll see y'all again at the next merger.